Word. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So again, thank you so much for getting on. We're really excited about this. Thank you for taking time out of your night. I know it's late. I don't know if it's 10. Is it 10 for you there? I don't know what.
Yeah. I'm in Indiana, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean it's 10, but I'm like a night owl anyways, even though I'm literally not efficient at night. So I need to go to bed and earlier and get up earlier. It's just like I sometimes just have to reward myself with like staying up and watching a show. So I'm like, okay, I say I'm gonna get up, but I've been doing a little bit better lately.
Good for you. You deserve it. Okay. So tell us like who you are, where you're from. Just start maybe like, before you started It Works, what your life was like, when you started, and then, what it's done for you.
Yeah. So it's funny because last night we were on the Show Me the Money call, and my husband said like,
sorry, so good.
oh yeah, no, and it was funny because my husband said like our life like looked really similar, and I was like, what, like before? And I was like, yeah, you know what, but it probably did like from the outside look really kind of similar because we both had like jobs, we both went to school, we both got our masters, and we were working, living the quote unquote American dream. But I think for me, I'm always been like a very extreme person. So like I'm either all in or I'm all out, and I'm very red and I'm very blue, and I have negative green, and I have learned to have a lot more yellow, but mostly red and mostly blue. And so for me, that's just like how I've been my whole life. And so I'm like a work hard, play hard type person. And so I really don't want people to tell me that I can't do something. Like in that stage of my life was translating in like, holy crap, like we got married, we had a kid, we had to merge our bank accounts. And I really don't want my husband telling me that I can't get my hair and my nails done. Like, I really don't want him telling me that because like that's important to me. And I was a new mom. I had a 4-month-old at the time. And, that was like our life was, well, all of a sudden daycare expenses were kicking in. And I was like, whoa, this bank account is not where I expected to be. And I think the biggest question is, everybody can make themselves feel better, especially, on your guys' team, since you guys are so young, but like everybody can make themselves feel better and say, well, I'm only X age. And that's what everybody's doing at this age. Right. But my question to myself was, okay, but what am I going to be doing differently in a year from now that's going to put me in a different situation? And I didn't have an answer for myself. And I was like, okay, I got to like figure out something. And to be honest, like I had no clue like what the heck Erin Tweed was doing at all. No clue what she was doing, but I knew Kyle from college. Okay. Very briefly. But I'd seen her post pictures of their son, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep following her. And I would see her post all the time, but literally would never think to myself, oh, I should do that. I just remember seeing it. And one day I remember, me and my husband were driving through this really nice area of Indianapolis. And I was like, who lives in these houses? Like, what are these people doing? Okay. Like, what are these people doing? Like, I need to figure this out. And because I was at my job and I worked at a local bank and I was doing mortgages, whatever, but like, I didn't get it because there weren't even really good 9-to-5 jobs at the bank, even if I was to work my way up to where I'd be making enough to live in a house like that. And so I was like, this is not making sense to me. Like, what are these people doing? Like, literally, I'm the type of person that I probably would like be like, excuse me, what do you do? Where's all your money coming from? Can you tell me how I can get some? Like, that's like literally how I am. But I didn't do that. Don't worry. And so he was just like, I feel like everybody has a side hustle. And I was like, maybe you're right, dude. And he was like half joking when he said it, but I was like, maybe you're right. And so I just kept thinking about it. And I told him, I remember in the car, I told him, I was like, well, there's this girl that I keep seeing on my Facebook and she's like doing something. And I think she earned like a big bonus, but I don't know anything about it. And he was like, well, why don't you just ask her? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like that's for people who can't get jobs, like real jobs. And like jokes on me, So, and then the next day I read this article and it said the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. And it was like God would literally just place that article in my lap for me to read it on that day. So that I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to reach out to her and see what happens. Well, I reached out to Kyle and I said, hey, how much money is your wife actually making? Literally asked him that. And he was like, she's making about $8,000 to $10,000 at the time, because she was a double at the time. And I was like, yeah, right. This dude is lying, babe. Like, he is lying. And he was like, well, even if she's making half of that, you could still make $500, right? Like, and so I just ended up talking to her, and I was just like, you know what? Like, if this girl can do it, and I love Erin, but she keeps the business so simple. If you ever go to Erin Tweed's page, you're literally like, she's an ambassador, because her page is so unassuming. Like, she doesn't make these like awesome, crazy posts. Her page is like her kids, and it's very simple, and it makes anybody feel like they can do the business. That's how I felt when I went to her page. And so I was like, okay. I was like, babe, it's $99 though. Like, don't you think this is a scam? And he was like, babe, well, do you know that everything you have to pay, like even school is a form of paying to get a job? And I was like, yeah, that's true. And he's like, and when's the last time you walked into Target and didn't spend $99? And I was like, true. Okay, so let's do it. And so I jumped in, but I think that the biggest thing, and he said it last night, like, was when he told me, you know, don't just do it to do it, like, do it to do it, like, really do it. Don't just be like, I'm going to try, and then don't do anything with it. And so like I said, I'm kind of all or nothing. And so I went all in, and was excited, had no clue what I was doing. I didn't sign my first customer, you guys, for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And then my first customer that I did sign, I messed up her BOGO order. Okay. At the time, they had the option to still get like 1 box of wraps, and you actually had to click on like the second like option, which was the BOGO option. But I didn't know that. It was my first customer. So I clicked on the regular option, and I had to call Erin. I was like, I suck at this business. Like, I can't even put in a freaking customer right. She was like, no, it's fine. But I think it's funny because once I signed that first customer, it was like, okay, now I could sign like 1,000. Like that. I mean, yeah, it was bad because I put it in wrong, but after I figured it out, it wasn't that bad. And then I got it, and then it just kept going. So then I promoted to Diamond 4 months later, earned a $10,000 bonus. And then I went double. So that was in July, and then in March, me and my husband both went double. And then in the next March, me and him both went triple and earned $100,000 in bonuses. And then, gosh, it took me a year and a half to go from triple to Prez. And then I went Prez in September. God, I don't even remember, because I was so over Prez by the time I hit Prez. I was like, okay, I'm already looking at ambassador before I even hit Prez. And then I went, I think it was September, and then we went ambassador last month. So that was like, I mean, that's my quickest turnaround to go from Prez to ambassador, which is crazy. But it's just been so fun. Like, I love it. So it's almost 4 years to the date.
Mm-hmm. So exciting. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
So like, how is life right now? Like, what, like, how do you, I feel like this is a trick question. It's like so hard to answer, because I would probably have the same answer, but like, how was like that transition? Okay, I'm being a little more specific to make it easier. Like, how was your transition between like wanting it and like really wanting it? You know, there's so many people who, like, there's so many different stories with like top leaders and, you know, success of any kind in any rank. And I feel, you know, we all, you know, a lot of times we get caught up, you know, you said it was like a year and a half from triple to Prez, mm-hmm. right? So, you know, and it doesn't matter what rank you are. Sometimes it's natural for us to be at a standstill at some point, but what a lot of people don't realize is that it's not like a standstill. Like, you're growing, you're building, like whatever's going on, it's worth it and it's gonna pay off. So like, what are some of your breakthroughs or like your aha moments? Because I know I had a lot during these transitions, like realizing that what you're doing is going to pay off, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you guys, to be completely honest, I hate failing. Like I really don't like failing. But in this business, I really just told myself like it's a process because this is so different than anything I had done before. And I have my husband, he was a basketball coach. But I don't think that really ever leaves you because that's just like who he is now. You know, that's just his personality. It's become a lot of his personality. But I think that when you get into this business, you can't be like, oh, I won the game. I lost the game. Like, it's not like that. It's not an infinite, like it's done. Right. I mean, it's not like it ends because the journey is the game, right? Like the journey is the game. And so having that long-term mindset, and that's something you learn. That's not something you come in with. Okay. But I learned that, and every paycheck I've felt this way, is that it was nice to get it, but I knew there was more to get. Okay. And even now, like I literally still feel that way. And sometimes I have to be like, am I being greedy, God? Like, am I greedy? Like, just tell me I'm not. Okay. Because you called us to live abundantly. So just tell me I'm not being greedy. But I think that that's like, the thing is just knowing like, that's nice, but I know there's more. Thank you. But I know there's more. And even when that first $34 hit my bank account, that was my first paycheck, was $34. It hit my bank account. And I literally, you guys, you would have thought that I just won like $3,400 because I was rolling up to Starbucks, like thinking that I was like Miss Queen Bee about to get some venti. Okay. Because, you know, I was always trying to penny pinch and get like a grande, like, even though you really want the venti, but you really feel bad paying $7 for a Starbucks drink, literally me. Right. So, but I still wanted to have my Starbucks drink. So that was like my budgeting. Okay. And so I was like, this is nice, but it wasn't the amount. It was the fact that I saw money get deposited. So that was like my first aha moment, because I was like, dude, like this is real money in my account. Like this is not some like product credit. Like this is real crap in my account. So that was the first aha moment. I think when I started seeing like, okay, I see where Erin is, but Erin's still helping me. And I saw that like literally I just had to help other people learn to do what I was doing. Like that's it. And because at first, like you guys, and I'm sure if you guys are new, some of you guys probably do feel confused by why are so many people trying to help me? Like I felt like kind of skeptical, like, are these people really trying to be my friends? Like, do they really want to help me? Or is this some kind of like weird sorority sister? Like I'm going to keep my friends close, but my enemies closer, you know? And I was just like, okay, so let me make sure that I understand like this. So I have to help people get products so they can get healthier, or I help people join the business and teach them how I help people get healthier and help people. Like it was mind-blowingly simple. Okay. And I like people. So not all people, but I do like people for the most part. And so I think that for me, that was like the biggest thing that helped me get to Diamond, is like understanding like, dude, like I saw Diamond though. I saw it. Not until Erin told me to pull out my chart though. And that's another thing. That was a huge aha moment for me. So I went Ruby, and there was $1,000 Ruby bonus at the time. And I was, dude, when I hit Ruby, you would have, I remember I was taking a walk around my block, around the park with my daughter, pushing her in a stroller. And Brian was with me, and we were talking like, dude, I just earned $1,000 bonus. Like I thought it was big time. Okay. And we weren't even finished with our walk. And Erin calls me and she's like, dude, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. She's like, will you send me a picture of your Diamond chart? I was like, isn't like emerald next or something green? And she was like, yeah, but like, don't pull that out. Just pull out a Diamond chart. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't have a printer. So I went home and I like wrote it, like pen and paper, like drew my Diamond chart. I didn't wait till I got to a printer, because I was like, she told me to do it. I'm just going to do it. This chick's making $10,000 a month. So I'm going to listen to what she has to say. So I did. But you guys, I will promise you, I would not be where I am today if she did not tell me to pull out that chart, because I wasn't moving. Like I was set. Like I was like, and not because I wanted to be, but I was like, oh, it will just keep organically growing. Like that was my thought, is like, oh, I'm doing good. I'll just keep doing good. But like that intention of getting out your diamond chart and knowing the plan, because I'm not green, remember? So I needed somebody to tell me, get the plan out. Let's follow the roadmap. And once I had that roadmap, I could follow it. I didn't need a lot of direction, but I had to have somebody tell me that they saw that I was going diamond. Because sometimes, especially if you guys do know a lot about the color personalities, I always refer back to it because I think reds are often very scared to fail. Yes, they're go-getters, but they're very scared to fail. So if they pull out something that they're unsure if they can get, it's scary. But if somebody else says, dude, you're getting this, go, and you pull some Eric Thomas, like, I'm going to scream at you, like, you got this, like, go. They're like, okay, I can do it, right? And that's what Aaron had to do to me. And that's all it really took. And then I just did that for other people. Right. And I will tell you, that's also another thing that I had to learn was I can't Eric Thomas everybody. Right. Because I feel like I also got in, and this is more of like a leadership thing, but I got in to leadership and I thought the golden rule, they teach you, like, treat everybody how you want to be treated. That's some BS, y'all. Like, that is really not true. Okay. And coached in field hockey, I wanted people to yell at me. Like, I needed somebody to be like, go, you're not going fast enough. And I was like, okay, you're right. But other people would literally cry. Like, if I talked to them the way that I wanted to be talked to, they would not love on them, but that wasn't their language. Right? They needed the encouragement because maybe their self-talk was already so negative. And so they didn't want somebody else pushing them down. And so I really had to understand, like, what you want is not always what you should give. And that was probably the biggest breakthrough for me. And then also just learning you have to truly know where you're going and be intentional with it. Like, you can't just say, I'm good at triple because I'm making Prez money. Okay. And I think that's what happened at triple. I was just kind of like, yeah, like, I'm making Prez money. So why do I need to go Prez? You need to go Prez so your team can see you go Prez, and then they'll go Prez. And that took me a while to get to. And I honestly had to grow a lot in that time. Like, that was probably my biggest personal growth time of understanding who I wanted to be. Right. And I visualized, walking up on stage, and I remember being like, okay, when my team sees me up there, what do I want them to say about me? I love Kelsey because of X, Y, and Z. Yes, Kelsey's our leader. Like, I want them to be freaking proud, dude. Like, I want them to be like cheering me on because I lead with integrity, because cheering me on because I'm their biggest cheerleaders, cheering me on because they know that they get their credit too, and that it's not all me because I can't get here by myself. And so I had to visualize all that and realize, like, it's so much bigger than me. And, that those were probably some of my aha moments. I know I just like word vomited all over y'all, but hopefully you caught some of it.
No, I love it. I love, like, so many different things, and I feel like a lot of it is also unique depending on the person, and a lot of it is like common because we all go through it, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand too. Like, we get it, we so get it, Mm-hmm. But I love that you're emphasizing on the color personality because I'm huge with it. Like, I love psychology. I love self-dev. I love studying people, and I've just been getting huge with it. Like, I was asking my girls last night because I, like, lost a lot of contacts. When they were messaging me their number, I'm like, okay, cool. What's your color personality again? And they're like, what? Why? I'm like, you don't know your color personality? It was just so funny, but it's honestly, it's so important. It helps in so many different shapes and form, not only like knowing yourself and like growing yourself, but leadership as well. And you mentioned, like, when you were first starting, like, you were always, like, something that caught my attention is that you're always thinking of, like, not always, but like, you were thinking of the future, before you decided to take a leap and reach out to Aaron, and like, you were seeing like a bigger vision for yourself, and you always had that in the back of your mind, and that was what was kind of driving you. And I emphasize this to my girls all the time, like, don't wait. Like, you deserve to dream big. Like, it's always been so natural for me. I don't know why. That's just where I came from, how, whatever. But like, I'm just like, why don't, like, you like can have it all. Like, think, like, just start to dream big. Like, make a dream board. It's like so crazy. So many people just come to this business and I'm like, let's dream together for the first time ever, like literally ever. And it's so crazy that this business gives us the opportunity, to do that. And also, I was going to say something else, but I forgot. There were so many good things. But okay, so I'm just going to carry on because I did get a few questions that are really good. And a few of them were about being a mom in the business. So I was talking before, we are a young team. I am seeing more and more mamas come in, and a few of us, not me, are having children. So I know like the process is definitely hard, like, and I'm not even a mom, so can you go a little into like, and even without kids, like being in school, like being busy in general, like it's a lot. So can you go into a little bit of like finding balance, whether it's like balance with your children, but not even that, like balance with like your spouse and your family and just, life in general, and your best advice as far as how you go about that?
Yeah, for sure. And I love this question too, because you guys, I'm not the perfect mom. Okay. Like I am not the mom that's going to be like hand painting, homeschooling, like finger painting. I'm going to do arts and crafts with my kids. Like, yes. Like, do I love to go to birthday parties and they have that crap there? Yes. But like, I'm not doing arts and crafts with my kids at home on the regular. Okay. We don't have like curriculum and all that stuff. We like go outside and we shoot hoops and we run around and we play tag. And like, I'm just kind of like I don't know what would do mom. We don't do because they go to school. Okay. But it wasn't always this way. So to kind of back up. So I joined, my daughter was 5 months old. Now she's 4.5. Okay. So I've been in for 4 years. So she's grown up in this business. Now I promoted to Diamond. Right after I promoted to Diamond, you guys, I found out I was pregnant with my son. So she's 9 months. And I'm pregnant, and I did not plan this. Okay. Because I was struggling with one. Like, I mean, I love my kids. Please don't get me wrong. But like, I want you to understand that like, if it's a challenge, it's just part of it. Right. Like, it's not like, oh, it's hard and I'm complaining, but there are moments just like this business where you want to throw your phone across the room and you're like, oh, I'm done for the day. That's how sometimes you'll feel as a parent. You'll just be like, these people aren't listening to me. I'm done. I have no idea why you're crying. I'm done. I'm trying to help you and you're just screaming in my face. Like, I have no idea. Okay. So you're going to have those moments. But I think the biggest thing I have a couple of things. So number one is create a bare minimum list. Okay. And what that means is, what are you committing to do on your worst day? What's the bare minimum that you are going to do on your worst day? And this should go for everybody, not even moms, but it's especially important because you're going to have a little bit more bad days as a mom. And understanding so I give the example, like somebody in your family passes away, like your grandpa, and you have to go and, be in all this stuff. Like, yes, that's really sad. And I'm not trying to sound insensitive because it's happened to me, but what are you committing to do for your business? Like, the world doesn't stop, right? Even at a funeral, you have to pay the bill for the funeral. Okay. So let's figure, you still have to continue to move forward. And it doesn't mean, oh, I'm just going to post about how happy I am. No, you're posting about, I am post and honor your freaking somebody who passed away. Right. And there's so many times that I've honored that person. And then I also post about the fact that I don't have to ask anybody if I can go to the funeral, because you know what, when I was working a corporate job, I had to print a copy of my grandma's obituary and give it to them as proof for me to leave. That is the real world. Okay. So I just tell people, I'm like, I am so grateful that I have the freedom to be here. No questions asked. And so that is like a post. That's a post you can put up, and doesn't have to be, inconsiderate. But bare minimum, what are you doing on your worst day? your kid is in the hospital, you're, you know, somebody's whatever. Like, I mean, there's been so many times where like I've had 2 people on antibiotics, I'm nursing one kid and the other kid's falling down the stairs. Okay. So it's like, you are just going to have a little bit more chaos in your life, but you guys, everybody's life is chaos. And you're never like busier than the next person. That's something I really had to get over, because I think it's very easy to get in that thing where you're like, well, she doesn't understand because she doesn't get blah, 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 or she doesn't have a full-time job, or she doesn't have 2 kids, or she doesn't have this, or she doesn't have that. Yeah, you might be a little bit busier than that person, but guess what? You're also not as busy as that person. Okay. So you're always going to find somebody busier than you, and you can always find somebody less busy. Who are you focusing on? And so the biggest thing is, what can you do? And so that's why the bare minimum list has allowed me to give myself so much grace when it comes to, not every day is going to be perfect. Like today, I still have yet to add to my Instagram story. Winning. Okay, no, I'm not. I've still posted. I've still done other things. I've still sent out messages and all these things. And I'm not saying it's okay to do that every day. And I don't do that every day. But what I'm saying is that you have to learn that like you're balancing so many balls, especially as a mom. You're probably a wife, you're a business owner, and you're a mom, and maybe you work full time. You're juggling, okay? And my rule is, I heard somebody say this, is that you are going to drop one ball every single day. Just don't let it be the same ball 2 days in a row. And I was like, dang,
I love
that's
that.
good. So when you think that way, it makes you be like, dang, sucked as a mom today, but tomorrow I'm about to be the best mom ever. And maybe that means that, you know, you don't have your head in your phone for the hours that your kids are really wanting to play trucks with you. Okay. So it just is, I always say there's no such thing as balance. So it's funny that you said that, because I'm like, balance doesn't exist. I call it blending. Okay. Because everything is interwoven. Like my kids, when I'm hanging out with them, I'm taking pictures so I can post it. But that doesn't mean I'm not hanging out with them. And I really try, and I'm not always the best at this, but I really try to do like family hours. Okay. So like from 5 to 8, more probably like 6 to 9 now, is I have like family time where I'm not responding. I'm not messaging. I mean, I have my phone to make sure nothing is like super urgent, but I think it's one of those things where I've also made it to where if people can't find the answer, I mean, if I don't respond, they go find it. They go find it because I don't respond right away. Because for sometimes I was responding so quickly that I was being a crutch. And they weren't growing to their full potential because I was always there to save them. But I know the times on my business where I fell on my face is when I've learned the most. Right. And so that was super important. But yeah, so as a mom, balancing doesn't exist. It's blending. You're going to blend all of them together. You know, today, for instance, our refrigerators, like, I don't know, somehow it just like broke. It stopped working. And so I met my husband at Best Buy. I had the kids and we were waiting for him at Best Buy in the parking lot. So guess what I did? Kids are in the car seats. Well, now my 4-year-old can unbuckle herself. So she was like playing with all the papers up in the front. And I was like, okay, you guys sit in here. I'm about to make a post. And so they're playing in the back and I make a post. So it's like, I'm being a mom, I'm sitting in the parking lot at Best Buy, but I'm doing this business. And I know so often we get this idea in our heads, and especially it might be hard if you join the business when you didn't have kids, and you did have the ability to like, everything is organized, my house is swept, my office looks pretty, my pillow is right where it should be, and I'm going to sit in my chair and I'm going to send out my messages for the next hour. Okay. That doesn't exist in my life. Okay. So what it exists is like, even right now, you guys, somebody came to do my hair today. So that shampoo is sitting over there. My dishes are in the sink and there's some to-go boxes. And you guys, but I choose what's my priority. What's my priority? Right. And it's the same thing right now. If you still feel like, if maybe you joined this business a week ago and you're like, I just don't have the time. And you're listening and you're like, I really don't know where to find the time. I always use the example of like, did you find time to brush your teeth? you've always found time to brush your teeth, because it's disgusting if you don't brush your teeth, right? You know what will happen. You know the consequences. Your breath will be rank. You will have yellow teeth when you're older, and people will just know, okay? I think about the business like that, okay? I can't choose my dishes, which are still going to be there tomorrow, over sitting down and pouring into my team, or sitting down and making a post, or sitting down and sending out a message for a couple seconds, or voice messaging somebody. Okay. So it's little things like that where, yeah, your house might not be as clean as it used to, and your laundry might be a day behind, but you are building something for your future. And if you don't have that vision, like Emily talked about, if you don't have that vision, you won't ever prioritize this business, which is why the vision is so important. So what I encourage you guys to do is, if you have a pen and paper out, I want you to write down, like, I want you to list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe put 2 lines in between the numbers. And after we get off this, I want you to write your why 5 times. Okay. So what I mean is not the same thing every time, but Erin made me do this, and I'm like, this sounds like some intervention crap, okay, where she's making me do something crazy and like go real philosophical on her, whatever. But I promise this really helped me. And so just ask yourself why 5 times. So why did you join? Well, for me, it was I joined because I wanted hair and nail money, right? But why was that important to me? Well, that was important to me because I was a new mom. I felt like crap about my body, and I wanted to feel pretty. Okay. Well, why was that important to me? Well, because I freaking love my husband, and not that he's like going to divorce me if I don't look pretty, but I wanted to be pretty for him. Okay. Like I wanted for him to be proud, and I wanted to be proud of myself. Okay. Like, and okay, well, why was that important? Well, that was important because like, I also want to make sure that like in my life that I'm proud of myself and that I'm confident and all of these things. And so you see how it gets so much deeper, because then it got to like my parents and what my parents had provided for me, and what I liked about my upbringing, what I didn't like about my upbringing, and how I wanted to raise my kids, and what I wanted my future to look like, because it's so much deeper than what you think you joined for. It's not why you joined. That is like the surface, right? But when you start getting beneath the surface, you see the vision for what you really want. But 99% of people don't get what they want. You don't know why? Because they have no idea what they want. It's so buried that they're scared to even say it out loud, which is why dream boards are hard for people, which is why certain things are hard, is because they've buried it beneath I have to pay this bill. I have to make sure the car is paid for. I have to make sure my kids are eating. I have to make sure my student loans are paid for. I have to make sure I pass this test. I have to make sure I'm doing this. That's why people are in school and they have no idea what they're in school for. Because they don't know, they're just in school because that's what they're supposed to be doing. That's how I was. I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but I was picking something because it was better than the other thing, not because I was really that excited about it. And so I think that has to be just taking time to journal and manifest. And to be honest, like I know Allie's on here and Emily, and I don't know, I know a lot of other people don't have their videos on, but even as a leader now, I think it can be, when you hit that dream, right? What happens is now our reality is the dream that we had, right? So it's harder to purposefully dream, because we're living in this place, whereas you live in a place where you're uncomfortable, all you do is dream because you think about how bad you want to get out of it, right? But when you hit a place where it's comfortable, now you have to intentionally dream and say, okay, but what's more? But what's that more? Whereas if you're at this lower place, you're like, I know what's more, I just need to find something to help get me there. Now we have to really think about, well, what is more? And so if you feel people have that plateau, it's not because host to post doesn't work anymore. It's not because your network sucks. It's not because it's because you've hit a mental roadblock of your vision being clouded. And so get back to figuring out what you want and what that looks like for you.
Wow. All right. I'm just going to end the Zoom right here. I'm just kidding.
I have no idea. See, this is what happens. I told you, I'm like, you asked me a question about being a mom, and that's how it ended, but it's fine.
so good. Well, it all comes into play. It works. You know, we all think differently too. You know, I always say all the time, like I said before, we have our own story, we have our own mission, like we have our own lives. Like everything you said probably reached so many people. I love it so much. Wow. That was so good. I'm gonna go watch. Okay. Some specific questions. So you were talking about how you message and you host a post.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you, I'm not going to use the word balance because I agree, like there's no such thing.
I know. I did that. I'm sorry. I like tell people, I'm like, balance doesn't exist, but I mean, it's not like you can't, it's not like it's a cuss word. Somebody was like, I don't use the word hard. I use the word challenging. And I was like, okay. It's just like, well, because hard makes you not want to do it. But when you say challenging, it's like, yeah, it's a challenge. I want to do it. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, but now all the time I'm like, no, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not, it's just challenging. Like, so now I find myself just like not being able to say the word.
Yeah. It's perspective too, you know, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so with us, like Host to Post is still fairly new. I love it so much, but I also like my heart will always stay on like cold messaging. Like it's just what it is. I will never change that. But I love Host to Post. You're like hitting multiple birds with one stone. But you know, I personally love doing that on Facebook. But I know our team mainly is huge with Instagram. So like we're going through that transition of like doing both. And even for myself, I'm like, okay, so like I'm telling my girls to send, 10 messages an hour for cold message, but like get Host to Post up, So, just what's your best advice like going about that? Like what do you do specifically with yourself and like maybe you're training your newbies and whatnot?
Yeah. So I think it's important to get newbies hosting, like doing Host to Post really quickly because you can help them get their first win really quickly, right? Because just having somebody interested is a win. Okay. And so for me, I think that's why Host to Post is really important for newbies to see people want what we have. And because I think so many times they feel like they're pushing things on people, and then it gets their confidence up because I'm like a hype man. Okay. So like when newbies are doing Host to Post, I'm like, dude, this person has no idea you just joined. Just act like you've been doing this for 4 years. Send these messages. They will have no idea because they don't know, you guys. They don't know that you joined 2 days ago. Okay. So, I was thinking about that. I'm like, the people that are signing up with me have literally no idea how long I've been doing this. For all they know, I could be a distributor. Like they really don't know. And so, but I know that they purchase stuff from me because I'm confident. I do know that. And so that's free. Like you don't have to that comes free. So you can just borrow mine and say what I say. And so I always ask people this because people will say, I'm nervous to cold message. And I'll say, would you be nervous to cold message if you were messaging from my Instagram account? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, look at your page. Like, look how many followers you have. Look at that. And I'm like, do you think I started with that? Your problem is not the fact that you don't want a cold message. Your problem is your confidence with yourself. And so it has nothing to do with the messaging and saying, oh, I don't like cold messaging. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes other people feel uncomfortable. Like they're saying that because they're uncomfortable. And so if you can understand why that person's uncomfortable and say like, just pretend you're literally pretend you're stealing my phone and you're messaging from my account. And here's what I say. So essentially you are messaging from my account. But so for me, when I think Host to Post is crucial when you're first signing people to help them get their first win, like for new distributors. But the way I do it, and I've played around with a couple things because I probably do 50-50, 50% Instagram, 50% Facebook. To be honest, I'm not solely one or the other. And I've kind of always worked my business that way. I don't know. That's just kind of like how it's grown. But because I think it's like cyclical for me. Like some seasons Facebook is way better and some seasons Instagram is way better. But I also know like I'm not an Instagram model. So like I'm not trying to compete with all the Instagram models out there. But I think people also appreciate that about me, right? And about, that's another cool thing about like being a mom and being just who you are. And I focus a lot on that with newbies too. But with Instagram, I cold message for distributors. I don't cold message for customers. And that's just me. That's just what I like to do. Because I personally love the business. And so I could talk about the business all freaking day, obviously. And so that's what I want to talk about. And, that's what I want to talk about. And so that's what I talk about. And then on Facebook, I do host a post and most of it, but also cold message on Facebook. But here's what I also have tried doing, and it's worked pretty well and I know it might not be like what you guys teach, because you guys all have like the Instagram model pages with like all the cute filters and like making sure it all looks like uniform, right? But I will tell you, and it is a little bit of an eyesore when you first get started, but it's helped me grow my network. Let me see if I can find one, because sometimes I don't delete them. Okay, so here's like my Instagram page, right? So it's decent. It's not y'all status, but it's fine. Okay, so this is actually a picture, and it looks like a quote. Okay, if you get like a white background, it can kind of look like a quote when you're scrolling, but it's a screenshot from my Facebook status, and it's about my giveaway. Okay, so I had 100 and something people comment on that. I do not host a post on Instagram. That's way too hard to keep up with for my negative green personality. But what I do is I message them and I say, hey girl, add me on Facebook, and I give them my Facebook name because it has my maiden name in it. So Kelsey Thornton, so nobody else has my name. Or you could actually send your Facebook profile link, and I'll say, add me on Facebook. I'm doing my giveaway there. So I'm killing like 17 birds with one stone, because I'm adding to my network on Facebook, I'm gaining interaction on Instagram, and I'm adding them on another social media platform, which allows them to see me more. Okay. So they add me. And Facebook, I feel like when I get people on Facebook, I sign people. I know that I sign people because I am me, and people know that. And I talk about me, and my life, and people literally, you guys, I had people come up to the grocery store in the town where we used to live, and they'd be like, how is Michaela and Deuce? My son's name's Brian Jr., but we call him Deuce. And, I'm like, but they feel like they know me because of Facebook. They literally came up to me and asked, and I literally told somebody, and they were like, that's creepy. One of my girls was like, that's really creepy. Didn't you get creeped out? And I was like, no, I mean, they were nice. It wasn't like they were stalking me, but they know me enough to feel like they could come up to me. I know that I did my job. And so that's a good question. So for you guys to ask yourself is, does my audience, do they know me? If they saw me, would they know enough about my life to come up and have a conversation with me? Okay. And our pastor was actually preaching about this weekend, where he said, if you're looking for your purpose, go find your pain. And there is so much truth in that. And I know it's hard to talk about at first. Even when I first started, it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to ruin this image of what I've portrayed on Instagram about how perfect my life is. Okay, just get over yourself, because so many more people can relate. If you guys don't watch the Craig Groeschel podcast or listen to the Craig Groeschel podcast, it is amazing. But he talks about everybody can be inspired by your weaknesses. By your strengths, but people connect to you through your weaknesses. And so, yeah, I want my pictures to be bright and crisp and clear and, have awesome quality to them. But I also am going to talk about how sometimes I know I suck as a mom in a really pretty picture. Okay. I've also posted pictures of my kids crying. Now, and I'm talking about that. And I'm talking about how marriage isn't always easy. And I'm talking about things that I struggle with. And I know that if I struggle with them, I know other people struggle with them too, because nobody can relate to perfect. And somebody is always going to want to click follow on your profile if you're real. If you're real, they're going to want to follow you. And I don't mean the kind of real that's like baby daddy real. Okay. I mean the real that is, here's what I struggle with, but here's how I've gotten through it. And here's what's helped me. And you don't have to be alone. Okay. It took me a while, but I'm epileptic, so I have seizures. And it took me a while to talk about that, because that is I don't want people to feel bad for me. And I don't want people to think that all of a sudden I'm going to spaz out on them and be scared to be around me. But do you know how many people I've had message me about that and be like, I'm epileptic too. Thank you for sharing that. Like, you know, I would have had no idea. Like, you're so strong for sharing that. And I'm sure you guys have all felt the same way after you've posted something about some real situation. How many times have you gotten a distributor from posting about the fact that you couldn't put gas money in your car? How many times have you signed somebody about you posting about some painful situation in your life that you were able to change and have a solution for, or have a different positive outlook on because of this business? That is how people connect to you, is through that, and through you saying, here's what happened, but here's how I got better. Okay. And so it doesn't mean that you have to like have some poor pity party, but what it means is that that's how people relate to you, is they connect to you through your weaknesses, and they want to know how you got through your strengths. Why do we watch reality TV? Because that's what happens, is we see the journey, we see it unfold. Even in results, you guys, I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, stop waiting for your after picture. Post about the process that got you the after picture, because if you don't, people aren't going to understand what you went through to get it. They're not going to see the everyday, yes, I had a crap, I forgot to take my pills today, and make a joke about it. Okay. And post about, oh, you're so forgetful and you forgot to take your Thermophyte X, but you took 2 and now you're feeling so much better. Okay. So they're going to see that journey. And then when they see the after pictures, they're like, oh my God, I remember her posting about how she was taking that pill. Look what it did. If they just wanted the before and after picture, they wouldn't watch the TV show. They would scroll to the end. They would fast forward through the reel. So make sure you're giving people something to watch. Okay, I'm done. I don't even remember the question at this point.
That's so funny. My next question was to like talk about your life posting. So we're good. That was great.
What did you ask me though? Because I feel like there was probably something else.
Host to post and messaging.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, but host to post. Okay. This is a really good tip that, when I was going prez, I was desperate and I just came up with all these ideas. And some of my girls came up with some of them too. And number one is, if you get people, you know, we all have those people. I don't know if you've had those people because you've said you're kind of new at doing it, but the same person that comments on every giveaway post, and you're like, bro, I'm worn out. Like, you freaking posted everything. Okay. I have given you a hair, skin, nails post. I've given you a Thermophyte post. Like, I don't know what else you want from me, but I'll give you an extra entry just for commenting. I'm not sure. Okay. We all have those people. So what I actually have them do is, number one, I will have them post about my giveaway and say, hey, my friend Kelsey is doing a giveaway for $250 dollars or whatever we're ended up doing. So that's been helpful, because then even if they don't comment on the product post, they're commenting on the giveaway because they want the free stuff. And if that still doesn't work, I'll say, for every person that you can get to post the status for me, you get an entry. Because you guys, those people are like watching cat videos on your Facebook anyways. So they're going to be like, oh yeah, I have something to do. And they're going to be, and I'll be like, this is what you can message them. And you guys, I've had a girl, no joke, she does not want to do this business, which is fine. But she's literally probably gotten 10 people to host a post for me from her messaging them. Not even me messaging them. Okay, so that's something that I've done. Another thing that I've done is, like, I go through literally every person who hasn't responded to me on a hosted post, which we all have lots of those, but I use the Facebook Messenger because you can search in there. And so I'll say, like, if I'm doing like the upsell, right, for 97, which is what I do, like Thermophyte, Cleanse, Fat Fighters. And I don't know, if you want me to expand on any of this, just let me know, because it might not be exactly what you guys do. But let's say they don't respond after I give them the price or something. I just say this. Hold on. So, hey, I know you're not ready to order yet, but in the meantime, I still wanted to give you the opportunity to get a free entry into my $250 cash giveaway. All you have to do is copy it and paste the post on your page. Easy peasy. Are you up for that? So literally, I'm turning everybody into a host to post. Like, you need to be doing something for me, like, not just not responding. So for follow-ups and stuff, like, that's my follow-up. A lot of times it's like, okay, that's fine, but here, if you're not going to respond to me, can you post this for me? And so that's cool. And then a lot of times too, like what we did last month for Host to Post really worked well, was I actually broke it up into 3 different Host to Post giveaways. And then it kept it new and fresh and interesting for people, because if you've noticed, like, you can only post about like the same thing so many times in the month before you don't want to feel like you're wearing people out about it. But so what I did, I think the first half, it was like an Amazon something or another. The second half, or the second week of the month, was a Keurig and like the K-Pods, which I wasn't like, that didn't really work that well because a lot of people have a Keurig, and the K-Pods are great, but like they're, people don't want to post for that. So like, it's all kind of trial and error, and then the last one was cash. Now this month we're doing a pick your prize. So I have like 6 different options where people, but that's awesome too, because I don't ever post it like a pick your prize. I post like, I'm doing a giveaway for an Apple Watch. I'm doing a giveaway for a cash prize. I'm doing a giveaway for and I don't even know what the other things are. Like, I have a whole list of things, right? And so that has been helpful, because it's just like, it keeps it interesting, and I'm not posting about the same thing over and over, but I'm still only doing one giveaway. So it's kind of taken a little bit off my back from that standpoint.
I love like switching up, like switching it up throughout the month, and like giving distributors multiple options. Is that your thing? Like, I love that a lot. I love it.
Yeah.
I actually do the same thing. Like, my whole mentality since I started was hitting multiple birds with one stone. So like, I have so many people, I don't know if you get people's numbers, but like, I love getting people's numbers. So regardless, in any way, shape, or form, like with following up, if, sometimes you get at a loss with some people, you're like, damn, I really just don't know what else to say to them. I'm just going to send them a picture of like a video of myself. Maybe they'll answer this time. Honestly, Host to Post or follow-up works wonders. Like, I'll have people from 2 years ago answer me when I send like a follow-up for Host to Post. So I love that a lot. Love it.
Yep.
Wow, this is so good. This is such good info. I appreciate it so much. I think I got people's answers. If anyone's on here who's like, you forgot about me, let me know. Okay, wow. Thank you so much. Like, you're freaking awesome. Serious.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me on. I was excited to be able to do this with you guys. I felt like I'm really not that big of a deal, but I appreciate you guys thinking I am.
Congrats again, seriously. So
yeah, congrats to you too.
Thank you.
It's so fun. I know, it's crazy. I'm like, it doesn't really still feel that real, but it's probably because you don't really do it by yourself,
Exactly.
So it feels like it's a little bit unreal, but it's fun.
It is. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for staying on and hopping on. And I will be praying for you guys in your business, and just know that like, it's a journey, like it's just a journey, and it's so fun. But just stay hungry and keep learning, and just know that like, you investing in yourself is the best investment that you can make. So just keep getting better, and your income will grow. I promise. If you keep getting better as a person, your income will truly match that.
Yes. Love it. All right. I'm gonna go now so I can listen to this Zoom again.
Bye guys.
Bye. Have a good night.